How could I turn this into this? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made a delicious strawberry mead. So to start with, I need to rehydrate the yeast. I'm giving the yeast some nutrition and water and let it wait for a bit. As the yeast is rehydrating, I'm preparing the honey that is to be fermented. So I just got some cheap flower blossom honey from the local grocery store and mixed it with some water. The size of this batch will be around 5 liters. I need to make sure that all of the honey is dissolved so that I can measure the original gravity from which I can estimate the final alcohol percentage. Using a hydrometer, I can read 114, and this would make about 15% of alcohol if all of the sugar in this mead would be fermented. So let's introduce the yeast. I use this thing to track the fermentation process. It basically measures the sugar content over time. Now, I'm just waiting for the fermentation to begin. I use an airlock which is filled with water and sanitization liquid. The next day, fermentation can be observed. You see those small bubbles surfacing in the liquid? That's carbon dioxide that the yeast produces when converting sugar into alcohol. Since honey does not contain an optimal nutrient mix for the yeast, we can give our yeast cells a little boost by adding some additional nutrients. The yeast seems to like the conditions. More bubbles, a good thing. Now I can see a value of about 2, which gives us an alcohol by volume percentage of 14.7. So now it's a good time to add some strawberries. The high alcohol content will hopefully protect us from any unwanted microorganisms. So I will just mix these fresh strawberries and add it to the mead. Before adding the strawberries, I wanted to transfer the mead to a new clean vessel. So I did this using a siphon, and then I wanted to add the strawberries to the mead, but I should not have done it in that order. Just wait and see. So the addition of strawberries would also bring along some additional sugar. That's why I'm measuring the gravity again. Oh, what a mess. So the yeast probably woke up after the alcohol content was lowered and some sugar was added. After some weeks, I measured the gravity again. At least there is no sugar left. So the final alcohol percentage should be somewhere between 12 and 13%. Let's say it's about 12.5%. Before sweetening the mead with some honey, I will inactivate the yeast by adding sulfite and potassium sorbate. This will prevent the yeast from turning the added sugar into alcohol, as I want some sweetness in the mead. I'm using raspberry blossom honey to sweeten the mead. One way to check the sweetness is by measuring the gravity again. This will result in a semi-dry mead. Here I'm adding bentonite to the mead. This will make the mead more clear or transparent. And as you can see, it starts to clear up. I decided to wait some additional weeks to make the mead as clear as possible. And as you can see, some pulp was floating to the surface. And I wanted to get rid of all unwanted things before bottling, so I wanted to use a funnel and a sieve. Apparently that was totally unnecessary. Just look at this beautiful mead. Wait, I almost forgot to taste. I can feel some strong strawberry flavor and a nice acidity. Thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.